Okay, so now that's all the gear that I can think of at least. So let's talk through how everything is connected, how everything kind of works together, because I think that's where most people get a little bit confused. And I want to go right here. So there you go. Thanks for watching my TED Talk. So this is actually, I don't really even know why I made this. It's just a little studio schematic. This is actually for a 4-camera setup. Obviously, this is only a 3-camera setup, but you get the idea. Just you can just take out one of the cameras and mics and headphones. But this is sort of how everything is connected. You don't have to remember that. I'm going to talk through everything, but I had that laying around. Thought it was worth showing today. But let's go through some more specifics. So to start, let's start with cameras here. So all 3 cameras that are in this studio run into, well, first of all, they're all plugged in via external power. Actually, this camera, the overhead camera, and the camera back here, they are plugged into external power via the micro USB port on the side. What that does is it allows the camera to stay on, because I don't record internally in these cameras, but it allows the cameras to stay on as I export the clean HDMI feed from each of them, which goes into the ATEM Mini, which then gets sent into the ATEM Mini is connected to my PC, and then that is how the feed gets into OBS. When it comes to the Sony a6500, the same applies, but it's kind of rerouted a little bit. So we have the clean feed coming out of the a6500 into the Atomos Ninja 5, which is up on top. And through the Atomos Ninja 5, I'm able to export a high quality version of that feed. And then the Atomos Ninja 5 also has an output that then sends that HDMI signal into the ATEM Mini, which gets it into the computer. And the beauty there is that I can be recording the feed from the a6500 in that external Atomos Ninja 5 and in OBS on my PC at the same time. And as far as powering the a6500, I don't use micro USB. I actually use a dummy battery for that one. So you can, if you search on Amazon, you can find dummy batteries for really any camera out there. But what it does is it's just a battery that replaces the camera's normal battery. It's got a power cord that comes out from it that just plugs into an outlet. So because I found that on the a6500, and I think this is true with some other cameras as well, but external power doesn't usually power it enough to allow it to charge. In other words, it'll still lose charge as it goes along, even if it's just left on. But with the dummy battery, it retains 100% battery power the full time. Okay, so that's how cameras are connected. Next up, as far as audio is concerned, so yes, we have the Shure, it's right here. I don't know why I'm using this other camera. We have the Shure SM7B. As I mentioned, it's connected via XLR to the Cloudlifter device, which gives it a little bit of a boost in gain. That then gets connected to the Rodecaster Pro. And then the Rodecaster Pro connects to my PC via USB. And that's how the audio gets into the computer. This you can disregard. This is actually just an analog audio interface that is designed to, it goes directly to my speakers here, which as far as recording in the podcast studio goes, don't serve any purpose. It just cleans up the signal from the Rodecaster to the speakers a little bit. So if you see that, you can disregard it. You don't need it, basically. The Stream Deck, which I showed you earlier, just connects to my computer again via USB, and then there's software that goes along with it that allows you to customize all the different buttons and things. And then lighting, again, very simple. The lights are all connected to just power supplies. But one interesting thing that I have done with my lights, and actually with a lot of the gear in the studio, is I've connected them all to smart outlets. It's called GoSund, GoSund. They make a number of different smart appliances, but they have outlets that you can connect them with like a Google Home, which I have in here, and you can use voice commands to turn them off and on. So a while back, I had my daughter come in and name all the different devices, give names to the different devices and things in the studio. She named my key light Carl. So I'll use Carl as an example. Hey, Google, turn off Carl. So there you go. You can, so I can talk to Google and have it turn things on and off for me. Just more of a convenience thing. It just helps to, so I don't have to walk around and turn this on, turn that on, turn this on. In fact, with one voice command, if I really wanted to, I can turn on like 6 or 7 things within the studio with just a couple words. So let me get Carl back on. Hey, Google, turn Carl on. All right, turning on Carl. Very nice. Okay. So let's see, is there anything that I'm missing? I don't think so. I mean, it's really not as complicated as it looks. I think the most complicated thing is just kind of getting the camera feed in. Sometimes if you find that your camera feed, like for example, when I say I'm getting the camera feed into my PC, it's coming in to the PC via OBS. Sorry for the infinity mirror effect going on there. But everything comes into, whew, that's crazy. Everything comes into the PC and then my camera feeds go into OBS. So I can use my ATEM Mini switcher board, switch things around, and you can see how the camera feeds show up in OBS. It's pretty cool. The main issue that people run into with that is that sometimes the feed won't come through, and oftentimes it's really just a matter of making sure that the settings you have in OBS match the output settings of your camera. So for example, if you are outputting a 1080p signal from your camera, you want to make sure that you have your video settings within OBS set at 1080p and then whatever the frame rate happens to be. Actually, in my case, I'm exporting 4K signals, 4K 29.97 frame per second video feeds out of all 3 of these cameras. But what happens is they go into the ATEM Mini. One of the downsides of the ATEM Mini is that it is limited to 1080p resolution. So you can't get 4K out of it. So when everything gets routed into the ATEM Mini, it gets basically scaled down to 1080. So then in OBS, I'm matching the settings of the ATEM Mini with what's in OBS in order to get that feed in. Hope that makes sense. So basically from the cameras, 4K signal goes into the ATEM Mini, gets downsized into a 1080p signal, and then that's what gets fed into OBS. Okay, we're good? All right, so then beyond that, everything just comes down to kind of fine tuning and tweaking. We could go a lot deeper when it comes to how to get the best quality audio, how to really optimize your video within OBS. I think that's an episode for another time because there's so much you can dive into there. But that's how the studio is set up. That's how the sausage is packed.